Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, Supreme Court Justice Court, Second Circuit Court,
Second Circuit Court, Thurgood Marshall, Second Circuit Court, Second Circuit Court, Second Justice, Second Circuit Court, Thurgood Marshall, Circuit Court, Justice, Supreme Court, Justice Thurgood Marshall, Second Circuit Marshall, Second Circuit, Thurgood Marshall Court, Justice Circuit Thurgood Marshall, Second Circuit Supreme Court, Supreme Court, Thurgood Marshall, Thurgood Justice Marshall, Thurgood Supreme Court Justice, Second Circuit Court, Second Circuit Court, Justice Thurgood Marshall, Justice Marshall Court, Supreme Court, Circuit Justice, Second Circuit, Justice, Second Circuit, Second Circuit Marshall, Justice Marshall, Second Circuit Marshall, Thurgood Marshall Court, Thurgood Marshall Justice, Supreme Court, Justice Marshall Court, Circuit Justice Marshall Court,
Thurgood Marshall Justice, Second Circuit, Supreme Court Justice, Court Justice, Second Circuit, Supreme Court Justice, Justice Marshall Circuit, Thurgood Marshall
Court, Justice Marshall Court, Justice Supreme Court Justice
Marshall Circuit, Thurgood Justice Marshall, Justice Court, Justice Marshall
Circuit Justice Thurgood Marshall,
Justice Second Circuit, Justice Second Circuit, Justice Marshall Court, Supreme Court Justice, Circuit Justice, Court, Justice Court,
Thurgood Marshall, Justice Marshall, Justice Court, Justice Marshall, Justice Court,
Justice Marshall,
Justice Marshall, Justice
Court, Justice Marshall.